Welcome to Trent Jones Live. I'm going to do another Scotch review. So we're just going to jump right into it because I don't want to make this too long. I feel like the last one I did, I spent a good amount of time on. And yeah, I'm going to try and keep this one a little bit more short and sweet. We are going to look at Glenlivet 12. Oh yes, it focused better this time. Rock on. So this is one of the early on in my Scotch journey. Not early on. I'll go over this again really quickly. I had Scotch for the first time 15 years ago, something like that. And I loved it right off the bat, and then just didn't pay much attention to it for a while. And then in the past couple years, I've really started to dig into it more. And so early on in the renaissance of my enjoyment of Scotch, I got this Glenlivet 12. It is very standard, very basic, very common, readily available grocery store level Scotch. All of that, some of that might sound derogatory. None of that is inherently derogatory. It's just something to note is that as you're on your whiskey journey, you will grow and change in your taste. I think it's actually a good illustration for life, a good example of how life works. Actually, I should pour this while I'm at it. Because this is a 12-year-old Glenlivet, and you want to let it sit for a minute for every year that the Scotch is old. So in theory, this should sit for about 12 minutes before I drink it. Now, I'm not going to make you stay that long, probably. As you can see, there's very little left. That's why I wanted to do this review, because it's close to the end, and I wanted to, kind of be done with it. I'll just set that there. I don't know if I like that placement. See, I'm a video guy, so where do I put it that's not weird? I don't want it over there. I'm just going to put it off camera. Say goodbye. Maybe one day you'll be able to see my desk and stuff. Thankfully, it's not too dirty right now, but thankfully you don't have to see it. So yeah, you want to let it sit for about a minute per year that it is old. This is maybe different for some really young Scotches. You might want to leave them out a little bit longer, especially old Scotches, though. If you're like a 21-year-old, you want to let it sit for a half hour or so, more than a minute, an hour, just to let it open up, let it breathe. But yeah, back to whiskey journey. So on your whiskey journey, if you're truly drinking Scotch to enjoy it, you're not just... That's a train. It's really hot in here. I have the window open. I'm getting a new mic tomorrow, so that'll be cool. Hopefully that will help. I apologize if it's loud. But yeah, as with life, our tastes change. We learn, we grow, hopefully. And Scotch is no different. On your whiskey journey, you will find yourself trying stuff for the first time and thinking it's amazing, and then over time growing and moving on. And that isn't to say that something like the Glenlivet 12 is bad. It just means it appealed to me at a certain point in my whiskey journey. It might appeal to you at a different point in your journey. But it's a very common place that people that are new to whiskey start. It's cheap, it's readily available, and it's not bad. It's actually not a bad Scotch. It's 12 years old. That's a decent age. This is, let's see here. I'm assuming this is, yes, matured in European oak and American oak. So it's definitely got a light, fruity profile, as opposed to being aged in a sherry cask. It's got a more gentle, a little bit more fresh flavors than a sherry cask or an Oloroso cask or a rum cask. There's all kinds of different casks. They all affect the whiskey. And so this has a very straightforward signature that's very standard for American and European oak. But it is an entry-level whiskey. That does not make it a bad whiskey. That doesn't mean if you enjoy it, you're trash. To each their own. We all love what we love. We all enjoy what we enjoy. And so I'm not going to yuck someone's yum, you know? I appreciated this because it was one of the first really light scotches that I was able to like pick out some flavors in. It's not super complex. There's not tons going on. The Glenlivet is unfortunately chill filtered and only 40% alcohol by volume. Again, as a beginner, that's great. That's a great place to start. It doesn't look like it has any coloring added, or very little, if any, but it doesn't quite say any of this information. Ideally, Scotch would be non-chill filtered, have no coloring added, and would be 46% alcohol by volume or higher. But because it's low alcohol, it's an easy sipper. It's something that people who are new to Scotch can interact with pretty easily, pretty simply, because it's not as strong as higher alcohol Scotches, whiskey with higher alcohol levels. The disadvantage to that is that the more alcohol you have, the more flavor you have. So 46 is kind of the beginning. That's where you really get a quality expression of the whiskey. It's a really honest place that you can engage with the whiskey and get the right amount of flavor out of it. And there are much higher, more potent scotches and whiskeys than even 46. But that's the beginning. That's the good. The place where they say that is a truthful representation of the whiskey, as if you will. So this is only 40%, and it's chill filtered. Chill filtration, it strips the flavor out of the whiskey. It swips the texture and the mouthfeel and the viscosity and the oils, and it clears all that out so that when you add water to this, this would be the type of Scotch you would find in a mixed drink, or you would find people doing shots of because it's an easy sipper. I do not recommend shooting whiskey. Drink whiskey that you can enjoy. If you want to add ice, if you want to do on the rocks, that's fine. You want to add some water, that's fine too. A lot of scotches, I add water. Drink it the way you enjoy it, but enjoy it. Don't just drink it to get hammered. Like, there's no point, and you're going to regret your decisions. Maybe like our whiskey journey, it's something that we have to grow into and get to a certain age before we realize that's not the way to live the good life. My personal opinion. This is a really straightforward, simple Scotch. It's a good starting point. Let's give a little smell here. So I unfortunately had people over for the party. I had a party. I guess that was another video I was talking about a party. I had a party for my company, Glowfire. We are a video production creative agency that works with nonprofits and organizations doing the important work of taking care and working to help people. And lots of nonprofits and churches and organizations doing awesome work. And so I had a party with people and we celebrated and looking ahead to the future of this year. And we had a bunch of scotch. We went through a bunch of the stuff back here. Hey, I picked the right side this time. We had a bunch of stuff back here. Just hung out, shared a bunch of scotch, had a good conversation, talked about the future of the business. And so I only have one wee Glencairn glass left. It should be much bigger than this. So this isn't ideal for tasting and smelling, but for this scotch. I felt I would rather just make a video and have the wrong glass. I'm not going to let perfectionism win this time. When you smell this scotch right off the bat, you're going to get hit with barley, just like straight up barley. There's some barley sugar in there. There's some white fruit, like kind of like a lemony lemongrass, maybe. Some pear, maybe a tiny touch of pineapple. It's not super complex. There's not lots going on. But it's a good starting whiskey. It's a good place to learn what it tastes like to drink Scotch that's aged in European oak and American oak. European oak is a little bit smoother of an oak. It takes longer to impart flavor, which is why if you have Scotch aged in European oak, you can't really have young whiskey in European oak and get much out of it. That's why bourbon and whiskey in America that uses American oak doesn't have to be aged as long, because American oak imparts flavor faster. European oak has a softer, more gentle character that it imparts on the whiskey. Let's take a sip here. Cheers. Barley and barley sugar. A little bit of pineapple, a little pear, some melon, like musk melon, maybe a little cantaloupe, a little bit of lemon, maybe a little touch of ginger. It's very, very melded together. There's not lots of individual flavors. It's kind of all melded together, and it's a very gentle flavor. It's not a strong punch at all. At 40%, it isn't gonna have. Excuse me. If you're new to whiskey, 40% is a lot of whiskey. Meaning that the bottle is 40% alcohol, 60%. I had to do the math. 60% water. Versus if it was 50% alcohol, then it'd be 50% water, because you got to get to 100. So at 40%, it's not going to have much of a punch. It might if you're new to whiskey, but over time, your palate becomes accustomed to the alcohol and you begin to fade. You don't really focus on the alcohol flavor as much, and you begin to focus on the other flavors and tastes and smells and experiences that come from whiskey. But at 40%, there's not going to be a lot to it. It's pretty straightforward. It's definitely an easy sipper. It's not bad. It's not fantastic. It's a great starting point. It's a good place to experience something that took 12 years to make. Probably a little bit more, because there's probably some stock in here that's a little bit older than 12 years. 12 years denotes the youngest whiskey in the bottle, but there could be 20-year-old whiskey in the bottle. There isn't. There could be, and they would still have to put 12, because the youngest alcohol in here is 12 years aged. That's probably right about 12 years, if I were to guess. And it's a good place to just have an experience, to learn to. Sometimes you start with whiskey in the smoky. Sometimes you start whiskey in the really strongly sherried. Sometimes, rarely, I think, but you could start in the funky, farmy, weird, meaty, industrial Campbelltown style. I don't think most people start out there. I think that's something you work towards. Or you could start in the light and fruity type of Scotch. I started famously or infamously with Lafroig 10. So I started with smoky. And so this was a good place to start when you're not sure if you like this style of whiskey. This bottle is probably $35 in Chicago. Very cheap for what it is. And it's a decent Scotch. So I would just encourage you, if you are unsure, just give it a try. It's $35. It won't go bad. Keep it in a nice controlled place with not tons of direct sunlight. It'll last for decades. And yeah, just try it. See what you think. Give it a shot. But it's something that over time you'll grow and change. And now, having had other ones, so there's a Springbank 10 I have up here, and that is 2 years younger than this. But it would fit in a similar vibe of whiskey, just aged in probably just American oak. I'm not sure about Springbank, but not anything crazy, just straightforward whiskey. And that has a lot more complexity. And so I've been able to grow up from the Glenlivet 12 into other things, but this set a good baseline, a good standard. You could also get Glenfiddich 12. You could get, what's the other one that's similar? Glenlivet, Glenfiddich, and Glenmorangie. You could do that too. But yeah, I just give it a shot. See what happens. Let's do you'll see like there's not much coating on the glass here. See if I can get it to focus. It's gonna focus on me probably. If I put my hand there, yeah, there we go. Look at that. So there's a little bit of stuff in the glass, but it's not lots of viscosity. There won't be. Not lots of texture. There won't be. That's stripped out by the chill filtering. That's done so that when people add water, they put it in ice, it doesn't get cloudy, so that people assume it's good, because the person that's just drinking it because they drink it, they want excuse me, they want a very controlled, very consistent experience. So stripping out some of those things allows them to control it so that it always tastes the same. So if you're a casual whiskey drinker, excuse me, when you're a casual whiskey drinker, you know what you're getting into. But maybe, hopefully at some point as you go on your journey, you'll move on. So I'm not disparaging this bottle at all. It's been said that there's no such thing as bad whiskey, just better whiskey. There are probably some exceptions to that rule. I'm not here to talk about those. The point is that where you're at in your journey and whatever you enjoy it. Take your time with it. Don't chug it. Don't shoot it. Don't just try to get hammered. Enjoy it. And grow and excuse me. Grow and live life and experience new, and don't just stay stuck in one thing. Try things, experience things, experiment. Broaden your what you're trying, what kind of scotch, what kind of whiskey you're enjoying. Anyway. That was definitely pineapple. Pineapple, a little bit of like hay, grass, a little bit of like grass, hay. That's probably barley in there too. It's a little sweet and sour. Definitely, white fruits, and it's good. It's not bad. I haven't really thought about this. My friends have told me my rating scale in life is just off. I'm trying to fix that a little bit for this. So far, this is my second whiskey review, so I don't have much to go off of. The first one I reviewed was Linkwood, an independent bottle of Linkwood. I give that a 91. My scale is going to be higher than everybody else's scale. Maybe over time I will adjust those numbers. I gave that one a 91. I would give this an 82. It's fine. I don't think it is. Maybe we'll say 81. It's not bad. Like I could drink this, but having had and grown and had more flavor, having more experience in taste and smell, this one is just not as interesting as it used to be. Maybe one day I'll come back to it and I'll be in love with it again. I would be curious in trying something older from the Glenlivet. I haven't really had any of their older expressions. I'd be interested in trying that just to see what age does to this. Sitting in a cask for years changes things, it matures things, and just resting for years in a barrel, something that's crafted by human hands, the spirit, and then it's all this work is put into it, and then it just sits in a barrel and it just waits, and you just wait for it, and then 12 years later something like this comes out. Even if it isn't exceptional, it's remarkable what time does. And so I just encourage you, if you are interested in scotch and whiskey in general, just try stuff. Give it time. If you don't like it at first, keep it on the shelf. Let it sit there. Don't worry about it. Come back to it 6 months later. You'll find that it's changed while sitting in the bottle. Now, I need to drink this soon because it's almost gone and it's going to oxidize too quickly, which is why I wanted to do this video soon, because this needs to go away and make room for another bottle. And that doesn't mean because I'm done with it, I hated it. It doesn't mean if I never drink it again that it wasn't worth it, because life and the whiskey journey is about trying things and experiencing things and growing and letting your taste and your what you enjoy be shaped by what you've experienced in your life. So for 2026, for the Glenlivet 12 and for Trent Jones Live, just encourage you to give the Glenlivet 12 a try and go have a dram. Go try something. Give it a shot. And if you don't like it, come back to it in a few years, in a few months, and see how you feel about it then. I bet that if you were on the fence about it, coming back to it later, you might experience it differently. So this is the end of this, my second whiskey review number 2 for the Glenlivet 12. I gave it an 81 out of 100. Please like, subscribe, turn notifications on, hit that bell to be notified when new videos come out. And yeah, thank you for watching, and cheers.